So, what does it really take to build a successful life? Today, we're going to break down a really powerful message that gets right to the heart of that question. It's a story, really, one that starts with hardship, finds its power in education, and it all hinges on the one thing you have total control over no matter what: your own effort.
And it all kicks off with this quote: "This is no picnic for me either, Buster." That's what Barack Obama's mother told him when he complained about waking up at 4:30 in the morning for extra lessons. Just think about that for a second. She's a single mom, she's working full time, and yet she was right there with him, making that sacrifice every single day. It's just a perfect little snapshot of tough love, and it gets us to our first big idea. Real growth is a shared struggle.
And that's our first section, a shared struggle. Because let's be real, nobody gets a free pass. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. Facing challenges is just part of being human. And you know what? Just admitting that, just knowing that, that's the first real step to overcoming anything.
See, this message isn't coming from someone who had everything handed to them on a silver platter. The advice here feels so real because it comes from a place of genuine understanding, of growing up without a dad, of watching a single mom struggle to pay the bills. It's a foundation built on real-world hardship, and that's what makes everything that follows so much more powerful.
And what I think is so important is the honesty here. The path wasn't a straight line. There were mistakes, times where focus was lost, and moments that could have just derailed everything. This whole thing isn't about being perfect. It's about what you choose to do after you stumble.
So let's bring this right into your world for a second. Maybe some of these challenges on the screen feel familiar. Maybe it's adults who don't get it, or money worries, or just the pressure from everyone around you. The whole point is that these things, as tough as they are, aren't unique to you. They're obstacles, for sure, but they do not have to define your path.
Okay, so if those are the challenges, then what's the solution? Well, that brings us right to our second section, and to what is maybe the single most powerful tool you have for changing your circumstances: your education. And as we're about to see, it's about way more than just getting a good job. I love how this slide reframes the whole idea of schoolwork. That English paper? It's not just another assignment. It could be the very thing that unlocks a talent for writing you never even knew you had. That science project could show you that you have the mind of an inventor. Your education is basically a journey of discovering all the amazing people you have the potential to become. And here's the bottom line, the hard truth: there are no shortcuts. It doesn't matter if you want to be a doctor or a coder or an artist. You can't just drop out of school and land in a great job. You have to build the bridge to get there piece by piece with your own sweat and your own learning. And this is where we see the bigger picture. Your effort in school isn't just about your future, it's about our future. I mean, the skills you are learning right now in science, in history, in your art class, these are the actual tools we need to solve the world's biggest problems, from curing diseases to fighting for justice. All right, this brings us to the absolute heart of the entire message in section 3, your future, your responsibility. It all boils down to this incredibly powerful and direct idea that while you can't control your circumstances, the one thing you always control is your effort. I mean, just look at this breakdown. The stuff on the left, you can't control any of it, but the stuff on the right, that is 100% yours. Where you come from is not an excuse for not doing your homework. How much money you have doesn't dictate your attitude. Your effort, your focus, your willingness to try, that's where your power is. It really is that simple and that profound. There is no excuse for not trying. No matter how tough things get, the one thing that's non-negotiable is that you have to try. It's the one thing you can always control, and it's the one thing that can change everything else. And here's the beautiful payoff for all that effort. Your starting line in life does not determine your finish line. You are the author of your own story. Nobody else gets to write it for you. Okay, so you've committed to trying, but what happens when you try and you fail? Well, that brings us to this kind of counterintuitive but absolutely crucial idea about what success is really all about. I mean, come on, look at these examples. J.K. Rowling was rejected 12 times before someone finally took a chance on Harry Potter. Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time, was once cut from his high school team. The key thing here is that their setbacks didn't stop them. It was their response to those setbacks that made them legends. This quote from Jordan just says it all, doesn't it? Success isn't about avoiding failure. Success is built right on top of a giant pile of failures. Failure is the fuel, not the roadblock. So how do you actually do this? Well, this slide gives us the playbook. You have to separate the event from who you are. A bad grade doesn't mean you're stupid. It's just data. It's feedback. It's a sign pointing you exactly where you need to put in a little more effort.
And here's a really important part of learning from failure. Realizing you don't have to go it alone. Asking a teacher or a parent for help isn't a sign of weakness at all. It's a sign of strength. It shows you have the courage to say, hey, I don't have all the answers, and that's the only way we ever truly learn anything.
Okay, let's pull all these ideas together for our final section. We've talked about personal struggle. We've talked about personal responsibility. Now, let's connect your personal journey to the grand sweep of history.
Just let this timeline sink in for a second. 250 years ago, it was students who helped start a whole new nation. 75 years ago, it was students who got us through a depression and won a world war. And just 20 years ago, it was students who created companies like Google and Facebook. The people who did these incredible things were sitting in classrooms, probably bored sometimes, just like you. You are part of that very same legacy.
And so that's the real question this whole explainer has been building up to. With all the potential your education can unlock, and with the responsibility you have to give it your best shot, what problems are you going to solve? What amazing things will you discover? What's your contribution going to be? At the end of the day, it all comes down to this one simple personal challenge. More than your parents, more than your teachers, you owe your best effort to the person you have the potential to become. Don't let that person down.